Good evening, guys. This is my presentation on Carol Pilgrim, made by me, Clarissa Lopez. To start off this PowerPoint, the first few slides, okay. For this next slide, I could only find one photo of her, and I think this is the most current photo. I believe it's the most current photo, but I really couldn't find any dates to the photos. So mostly, I don't know if they are current or not. I really do wish I had the dates, but I don't. So this right here is Carol Pilgrim. So in this next slide, it's all about her education. As I put up here, education is the key to success, which her education was. She has a bachelor's degree from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, which she graduated from in 1978. She has a master's degree in experimental analysis of behavior from the University of Florida, and she graduated with her master's in 1983. She has a PhD in experimental analysis of behavior from the University of Florida as well, and she graduated in 1987. So as you can tell, she's been a behavioral analysis for a very long time. Longer than I have been alive. That's for sure. So I'm guessing when she first started, there wasn't really a lot on behavioral analysis, not like there is now. And I put another little picture of kind of education symbols. So this is a little introduction for Carol Pilgrim. Dr. Carol Pilgrim is a professor and an associate dean of the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Dr. Pilgrim's main focus is on developing children with autism and other developmental disabilities. She currently works with children between the age of 4 to 9, but the ages do range all the way to 12 years old. She doesn't only conduct studies on children, she also conducts studies with adults with autism. So there is different views to her research. It's not just about children, but it's not about adults either. She conducts her research mostly in preschool programs, in daycares, and after school programs, so she gets to spend more time with children. But she does have laboratories for her undergrad students and her grad students to do their research with adults. So this is just like little pictures that I added of schools, of little daycare programs. So you can fully see that she does work with children. These are some of the articles I found. This is another picture of her that I found. This is from 2019. It's for WIBA. So she was an invited speaker for that program. And of course, I put a little cap and degree because two of these articles do mainly focus on her. The first one and the second one focus on her. The second one is more of an interview, but I will go into that as we get to those slides. So in this one, some thoughts on shaping future behavioral analysis, a call to stay true to our roots. So in this article, I noticed that she begins the article saying that she's gonna outline her undergrad and graduate education. So in this article, Carol Pilgrim begins to tell her story of educational training and her main principle through it all. This repertoire necessarily includes verbal and nonverbal skills in basic or experimental behavior analysis, applied behavior analysis, and conceptual behavior analysis. So this is a quote I got from the article. I liked it because it says that you do need verbal but nonverbal skills in any kind of behavioral analysis. So for me, this kind of pointed out like you do need to be verbal, you need to be expressive, you need to learn how to talk to people, you need to learn how to be an extrovert instead of an introvert. You need to be more outgoing, you need to be able to connect to these people, to be more of an extrovert, to talk to them, to get to know them, to understand a lot of who they are. Nonverbal skills, I'm guessing nonverbal skills means keep your emotions in check. That means stay with a neutral face, do not show so much emotion because you can potentially lose a client that way if you are too emotional or if you have too many mentalistic views. And here I put the citations in red because I couldn't figure out how to highlight them. I'm sorry. Throughout this entire article, she explained what it takes to become a behavioral analyst. She continues the article explaining through her eyes as an undergrad and graduate student. But she didn't just explain it like that. She also explained it from a teacher point of view and a mentor point of view. So for this slides, opportunities and some lessons learned from a career in behavioral analysis. The article starts off by mentioning all the organizations Carol Pilgrim has been associated with. And believe me, there were a lot of them. If you have the opportunity to read my paper, I will include every single organization she has either been president, secretary, or associated with. The article does go on to mention her awards in teaching. There were a few awards mentioned in the article for her teaching skills and for her mentoring skills. As the article goes on, we are introduced a little more into her background and history. It does go on as an interview, and she explains how she got her job. The job she currently has, which is a professor with the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. She got that job at the beginning of her career, and she stayed there ever since. She has not really taken another job, but she has co-edited and has been editor of a lot of papers within her career. But she also explained that her mentors and her influences throughout her entire education program were the ones that kept inspiring her to keep moving forward. The third article, transitional behavior analysis and practical benefits. So in this one, Carol Program uses references from different sources in this article. So this one, I would say it's more of a kind of like a reference in other articles. She focuses on descriptions from an article that Critchfield wrote. She focuses on this as her article goes on. She reviews certain aspects of it. The article speaks of age ranges that can differ between a range from children with developmental delays to college students. The article is talking about a particular part of behavioral analysis. So if you do remember in our studies this semester, there are different parts of behavioral analysis. There isn't just one specific part. Behavioral analysis has many different parts, but this article basically only focuses on one particular one. In this one, considering definitions of stimulus equivalence. The article starts off with a comparison with Sidman and Talibai describing the definition of equivalence. It explains how their definition of equivalence has influenced every aspect of behavior analysis. Research programs involving class-specific reinforcers, compound, conditional, or discriminative stimuli. Simple discrimination training and functional stimulus class can all illustrated reliability, emergent patterns predictable on the basis of equivalent class formation, but which fail to meet operation definitions of reflexivity, symmetry, and transitivity. So this one, the reason I included this quote was because 3 of the words we just learned were in here, but also because it's saying that equivalence needs to have those three operational definitions in order for it to be stimulus equivalence. If not, it is not stimulus equivalence. Science and human behavior at 50. This article, I found it interesting because it is the 50th anniversary of behavioral analysis. So behavioral analysis has been part of our society for 50 years, or at least the time that this article has been written. This article is a review of the book that was written 50 years ago, but also includes aspects from recent years. The majority of the article was based on Skinner's thoughts related to behavioral analysis, but it also included reviews from people who read Skinner's work before it was even published. I didn't do an interview, but these are some of the interview questions I would ask. Did you always want to work with children is a question I would ask because I work with children. So I do love working with children, and I wanted to know why she wanted to work with children. What made you choose your career? After reading her interview article, this got me curious because yes, she explained it a little bit, but I would like her to go into more detail if I ever had the chance to interview her. I read your work with adults as well. What is their part in the experiments? She didn't really specify that in any of the articles I read, so I would like to know a little bit more of the adult part in her experiments. What advice do you have for someone interested in applied behavior? This one's more for me because I would like to know what advice she does have. In her interview article, she didn't really give any advice, but she only included advice that her mentors gave her. What services does your laboratory offer? This I would like to know, just in any case that someone does need more help. I could refer them to this laboratory or anyone, or I can just get more information. I do like to be well informed about all the things for people with disabilities, so this would just be nice to know. So Dr. Pilgrim's work is important because she focused on symbolic and relational stimulus control and stimulus equivalence to modify symbolic functions. She does studies on children which help current educators with applied behavior with students. She also includes adults in certain areas of her research, which is a large part because adults offer a different sight into which we may not see in developing children.